Good evening. Welcome to kind of a special edition of Moffat Not on Money. I don't know exactly how to word this, but Ellen was talking to some of her friends today on the well-known interwebs. Hey Tallulah, how you doing? Tallulah's always supervising me, keeping an eye on what I do and how I do it. But gabbing with some of her friends about the Murdaugh case, and there was confusion. Chunk's a little jealous. He wants his airtime. So hey, say hey, Chunk. Say hey to everybody. And Tallulah. Anyway, so there was a little confusion about some issues in the Murdaugh case, particularly about a magazine versus a clip. And I said, well, it's simple. And, showed Ellen the difference, whatever. And she asked me to do this quick little video explaining some of the nuances of clips versus magazines. So here you go. A magazine. Here's a magazine from an AR-15. This is the well-known kind of standard hunting rifle in the U.S. Military uses the same round. Interestingly, this round is basically a faster 22. Here's the regular 22 that people carry in pistols or go plinking with or hunt squirrels with. And then here's the .223. It's basically a 22 diameter bullet that is used in ARs. Here's actually the bullet from it. And if you compare it to the 22, you'll see that the diameter of it's the same. This bullet is a little longer, a little heavier than the standard 22. I don't have just a bullet from the 22 to show you, but not significantly different. So this is the magazine. This is a clip. Looks kind of different. Functions very different. The clip is to help reload the magazine such that you take a round and you slide it into the clip. And you do that repeatedly until you have 10 rounds on a clip. I had one round drop. The idea of a clip is it makes loading the magazine easier and faster. There are several little devices you can get. It just slides onto the back of the magazine. The clip slides down, and then you can just take this. Ellen's kind of messing with the camera and just making a mess of things. Used to that around here. But then you take the clip, slide it down, and you've loaded 10 rounds into the mag. You do that 3 times, you can get 30 rounds in here. That's an alternative to loading the magazine versus having to do it one bullet at a time, which gets a little tough on your fingers after you load a few. So most people, when they have time, bored, whatever, they'll load up the strip clips. And then when they need to reload a mags, it's easy. You pop them in, slide them down, and it's loaded. Here's another clip. You see the little metal binder there on the end for a 7.62. Now, this is a Russian 7.62 by 39. So it's a little shorter than the US 7.62, but still same idea. You've got a clip holding the rounds together. So that's kind of a brief difference between a clip and a magazine. There also was a question on a clip and a revolver. Here's an empty revolver. And that's one thing to keep in mind. Anytime you're handling a gun, you always want to, one, assume it's loaded. Never point it to anybody. Not unless you intend to defend yourself or shoot somebody. Secondly, always keep your finger off the trigger. The old adage is keep your booger hook off the bang switch. But always maintain trigger discipline. When you're ready to fire, then you drop the finger down. It's quick, it's easy. But if you trip, stumble, whatever, have problem have a complication drawing the weapon or inserting the weapon in the holster. That's usually where most people shoot themselves, is when they're trying to insert the weapon in the holster or draw it, because they don't have trigger discipline. So quick little reminder there. But
shoot your weenie off.
That's always possible. In fact, I've actually had a dear friend work for a police department. I won't mention his name on here, but he's a damn good guy. But he shot himself in the car once. Shot himself in the leg. So how you doing, Chuck? Anyway, the revolver. Now, in the Old West, they had guns like a Griswold, that this cylinder would actually slide off the post. Here you can see a little post in the center that it rotates around. Well, the old guns would break in half, and this cylinder would pull off, and you could drop on a new cylinder. Reload quickly. Today, the cylinders are fixed. You can't take them off that easily, but what we do have is something called a speed loader. It's a little round device that holds 6 rounds, and you can pull it out of its case, drop it in, press the button on top, pull it off, and it releases all 6 rounds in the revolver cylinder. Reloads quickly. It's called a speed loader. So revolvers don't have clips. They don't have magazines. So, a couple other things. Shotgun shells. This apparently was also an issue or a question. Shotgun shells, I don't have one disassembled. I don't reload shotgun shells. But the top part of a shotgun shell is a little plastic case that holds the shells. It may be referred to as wadding. Then underneath that casing or that wadding goes the powder. And at the very center of the shell is the primer. The shotgun or rifle, this works the same for bullets, has a firing pin which strikes the middle of the little primer. Well, that detonates it, causing a reaction and a little explosion in the powder, which then propels the shot out of the shotgun. The wadding also is expelled at the same time. The shotgun shells can carry a range of shot. Now, it's like BBs, but the size of those BBs can vary. They can be very small, like a bird shot, a dove shot, something like an 8 shot, which is very, very small. It's a third the size, a fourth the size of a BB, whereas the bigger shot, it's called alt or double alt, 0 or double 0, alt or double alt, maybe 2 or 3 times the size of a BB. So generally in a shotgun shell, it would hold, I don't know, 12 to 15 rounds of alt or double alt, and it would hold hundreds of 8 or 10. So the selection of the shell would depend on what you were hunting. If you're hunting birds, then you want the smaller shot with the bigger spread pattern. And if you're hunting deer, then you would use alt or double alt. Also, that shot can be composed of 1 or 2 materials, generally lead or steel. Lead is traditional. It was cheap, does the job, etc. The problem with lead is that, particularly in today's climate, it poisons the animal if it doesn't kill them. So it's kind of a slow, painful death. Also, lead cast about in the environment. Nobody's a big fan of that. So people have been moving to steel shot for years. It's still not universal, but kind of headed in that direction, where the BBs are made up of steel instead of lead. And I think I've got another question. What was it?
If you're eating an animal that's been injected with lead.
Oh, yeah. The thing about lead also is it's kind of hard. If you shot a bird with lead, getting all the lead pellets out, you kind of got to do before you eat it. Otherwise, you're eating lead. Never a good result. So most hunters will use steel shot for hunting, and maybe use lead if it's cheaper for practice rounds.
Still not found on Murdaugh property.
Ellen's like, still has not been found on the Murdaugh property. She is following that closely, so she has me beat in that regard. Anyway, just a short video to highlight some of the differences or issues that have been brought up in Murdaugh. Hope it was helpful. If you're expecting more comments on money, then my advice to you is buy low, sell high. Hope y'all have a good night. Thank you.